We are live. This is the NBA rundown. Tyler, we're coming off a 2-1 night. Let's talk about the game of the night, and that's Oklahoma City getting the win at home against Boston. That was the game we liked, and I felt that discretion was the better part of valor for us yesterday, too, as we were tempted to also take a dog with the Orlando Magic, but we ended up staying off. And remember, I told you on the show, I said, hey, I'm worried, Steph could go nuclear and beat us. And that's what happened there as Steph Curry had a great night and the Warriors were able to win and cover at home. But let's circle back to that Oklahoma City game, Tyler. Was that a statement game, or am I kind of overreacting to a January game?
No, I mean, I think they made a statement, in their last five, or just in this winning streak, they got wins over Denver twice, Boston now, and Minnesota. So they're definitely making a statement. My only worry with this team is they have no playoff experience. Like, we always see guys full right in their first time in the playoffs. I'm not worried about SGA or Chet, really, but the other guys I think we could have problems with. You never know.
I think they're a prime candidate now to also make a move and pick up a veteran. The rumors seem to be Lauri Markkanen. How much do you think he would help that team if that did come true?
I mean, I think he helps it a ton. Fills in, can help with rebounding, stretches the floor too. Him and Chet would be a good front court too. Plus, you'd probably run like the backcourt of SGA, Dort, and Jalen Williams with that. So that'd be a really good starting lineup.
All right. So we won that one. The other game, so I didn't watch a lot of that one. The Pelicans, they won pretty easily. That was a nice, easy win for us. What did you think of that game, and did you see it at all?
No, I didn't have any eyes on that. I was watching the OKC Boston game. I mean, of course, everyone watched that game.
Right?
It was the best game of the night. It was a good game, too. It was up and down. So when I finally looked,
I ended up being able to catch the end live while I was on break, and I thought we were going to get an easy win. Were you impressed by Boston making that late push, or do you think that was kind of all for show?
I think OKC took their foot off the gas, and that allowed Boston to wake up. But that was just a learning curve right there, I think, for a young team. Like, you got to keep your foot on the neck of these good teams because they can erase 20-point deficits like in the snap of a finger like Boston did last night.
Yeah, I thought so as well. Tatum had some weak defense there at the end. I almost thought they could have got the win, and I was surprised to see them working on Tatum, as he's a guy that I rank as a high defender. Maybe a little bit of fatigue there for him as this road trip and all the festivities catch up to him. Tyler, the only game that we missed last night was the over that I pushed so hard for on the Kings game, and I completely flipped that game. So I was thinking Charlotte needed to get right about where they were. I think I'd projected them at 111. The problem was the Kings only scored – they were up like 98-95. I rewatched it. They were up by 3 or 4 with about 3 to 4 minutes to go, and they only scored 6 points in the final 4 minutes. Charlotte's not that good. And I was all prepared. I was pissed, prepared to come on and say, oh, this team sucks, blah, blah, blah. That's not the case. But I think for our handicapping, we have to realize, these teams are going streaky. And I think the Kings are on a down streak right now. I'm going to be staying away from their games for a little while. Did you watch any of that at all? And how disappointed were you that I let you talk into that terrible pick of the Sacramento Kings going over in that game?
No, I had no eyes on that game. I didn't watch any of it. Can't say I ran to change the channel to the Charlotte game afterwards of that OKC game.
Yeah, I thought we had a chance there. The second quarter is what really cost us the under, and then of course the Kings' inability to score at the end. Disappointed, of course, that they took the even L. I didn't even get to see the beam last night. So, I wonder how they'll bounce back tonight. Any other thoughts from last night or the NBA in general before we dive into these games?
Nope, that's pretty much it for me. We can dive into tonight.
Yeah, let's dive into tonight because we got a pretty big slate. But I did think that was a fun game last night, and I feel like with the holidays being over, we're kind of getting back in to our normal handicapping, and I don't think there'll be such wild volatility here But this is a tough time to navigate. I think this is one of the hardest times of the season in between January and the All-Star break. Because, Tyler, we're going to see it. These rumors are going to start swirling around a lot of these teams. And some of them, it doesn't matter at all. And some of them, it completely affects them. So something for us to keep an eye on here as we approach that trade deadline. Our first game of the night is the Washington Wizards. They're plus 9.5 in Cleveland, taking on the Cavaliers. Total of 239. I don't have the injury report pulled up right now. Let me grab it real quick. But while I do that, talk to me about how you're approaching this game. I think 9.5 is too much. I don't want to take the Wizards. It's a big card. I'm fine staying away from this one. Do you think I'm missing something?
No, I mean, I wouldn't push to bet the side here, really. I think the Cavs end up winning the game, but I really ain't running the lay 9.5 points with them. Still Mobley out, still Garland out, but the rest of their team will be in. On the other side, it just looks like Gallinari is in on their injury report, so they look pretty good. All the trends point towards the under in this matchup. If you look at what they've done to Washington's team total under looks good, but my worry is this isn't the same defense without Mobley. You look at their last 10 games, their defensive rating, they rank 20th. That's not the same Cavs defense that usually ranks top 5. So I want to pull the trigger on Washington's team total under, but on a total of 240, I could see them getting up over that just on the possessions in the end. So staying away from that. I don't hate Donovan Mitchell over 38.5 points plus assists. It's basically the point guard now. He's getting 30% plus usage in the last 10 games. He's basically their entire offense. And if he gets you 7 to 8 assists in this matchup, I think he's good for 30 points. So I think he's going to crush that number. I think it's the spot we could bet his double-double, probably at a nice number too. So don't mind his performance doubles with those either.
All right. When I'm looking at some trends for this game, Tyler, hold on. The total's gone under for the last 5 times that Washington traveled to play Cleveland. But you mentioned that might not be reliable, as this is a much weakened version of that Cleveland team. Cleveland has also won 5 of the last 6 times that these two teams have faced off. So I'm fine staying away from this game. Let's give the bookmakers credit. They put up a good line, and let's move on.
I would take a shot on this. Where is it? It was Donovan Mitchell, 10 plus assists, and the Cavs win at plus 400. I don't think that's a bad bet.
That's great. Yeah, I think you're going to have to get creative if you want to get involved in that game. But I also think a lot of people will be fine staying away from it because we do have such a big card, and as we continue to break these down, we're going to find much better spots that we're all much more excited to get involved with. So we can double back here if we need to, but I'm fine leaving this one off the card altogether. Let's talk about the rivalry game, Tyler. The Milwaukee Bucks are taking on the Indiana Pacers again. These two teams played on New Year's, and the Pacers got the win as the dog. Now they're catching 3 points at home against a Milwaukee team. Are we going to zigzag here, Tyler, or do you think Indiana can get it done again?
No, I think we should zigzag. Doesn't this feel like the perfect spot to do it? Bruce Brown questionable, Nembhard's questionable. It looks pretty clean on the other side, except for Middleton. He has a Q tag, but I think he'll play. So I think it's the perfect zigzag spot, getting the Bucks minus 3.5. This isn't the same Indiana team when they started out. I think that Giannis had a big game in that last game. He triple-doubled. I think this game he goes more offense heavy and just pours in the points. I think they win this game. I don't think they let them get out of this 2-0 in this little stretch. So I like the Bucks.
Yeah, I would agree with you there on the Bucks. Of course, the trends are going to favor Indiana here. Let me look at what's going on.
You made a good statement coming into this game. There's some other spots on this board that I like better, and just those other spots on this board, I think, are better spots in this game.
Milwaukee's won 5 of their last 6 trips to Indiana. Of course, how many of those would have had Halliburton involved? And the total's gone over in 6 of Milwaukee's last 7 trips to Indiana. So, a couple looks there towards Milwaukee and the over. The total's also gone under in 5 of Indiana's last 6 games. So, records left and right, they've kind of come back to earth. I think we agree here. We both like Milwaukee. Will it be an official play? We'll go ahead and talk about that a little later as we go through this whole card.
They are
right now,
they're 7-1 straight up after a loss this year. Average win margin 6 points.
Yeah, I like to zigzag here. So, I mean, do you want to make it official right now, or do you want to just keep going on this card and then figuring out where we end up?
We'll figure out where we end up at the end.
Yeah, but right now, to me, I think the only looks there are Milwaukee, and I don't want to bet this total either.
No.
The Chicago Bulls are plus 8.5 in New York, taking on your Knicks. Oh, Tyler. Oh, we didn't talk about that one. So during the show yesterday, right, I made a case for the Bulls. You made a case for the Sixers, right? And we decided we're not going to get there. I didn't love my Bulls case. You didn't pound the table for the Sixers. We ended up staying away. We were on opposite sides. And for the majority of that game, it looked like it was going to be an easy cash for you, and you were going to have the bragging rights, and you ended up getting them as it was a 13-point victory. But at one point with the reserves in the game, Chicago made a 19-0 run, and they only lost the game by 13 after they were down by 30 the whole time.
Yeah,
and even though it didn't get there, whenever we're on here and we're afraid to lay those huge spreads, that game is the epitome of why. Because you called it, hey, Philadelphia is going to blow their doors off. I said, oh, Chicago's playing a little better, right? And they really did blow their doors off. But at the very end, they almost backdoor covered that thing. They were really close. So, just another example of the perils of laying those large spreads and why you've seen it become so popular here in the past 3 or 4 years on those bigger numbers to take the first half and not have to worry about getting destroyed by those reserves. I bring that all up to say that once again, Chicago's catching what I consider to be a pretty hefty point spread here. But they played last night and New York did not. Am I correct?
Yes, you're right. I believe so.
So New York's last game was on New Year's Day. And was that the debut of OG Anunoby, or is that his second game now?
Nope, that was his debut.
Okay, and I missed that game. What did you see at all? How does he fit in? I think he's going to be a great fit overall, but we know sometimes these things can take time. What do you think of the Knicks here, late 8.5, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I think he fit in well. They won by 6 playing Minnesota. It was a great team. So he played well till he put up 17 points, I believe. He had a couple rebounds. But he's not the storyline in this one spread. Tibbs has beat the hell out of the Bulls ever since he left as their head coach. He's 11-5 playing them. In his he's won 3 out of the last 4 versus them. And then he's also won 3 out of the last 4 when they've traveled to Chicago to play these matchups. He blows the doors off this team when he plays them. He likes his little revenge angle. He's going to run his starters all game. They match up well. I'm not worried about Drummond down low. Even without Mitchell Robinson, I think Hartenstein's a good matchup for him. Patrick Williams got a Q tag. He might not play. If he doesn't play, that's a big blow for the Bulls. And I think that they'll be able to score at will. So I like the Knicks here in a blowout.
All right. I'm still putting in my numbers right now, but we'll see if we land there. I've been high on Chicago, Tyler, but I'm not high on them in this spot. I think it's a bad situational spot. You brought up Isaiah Hartenstein. He's quietly replaced Mitchell Robinson like 95% effectiveness. He's been excellent defensively, and that's what Tibbs will always run. He won't run small ball because he wants that rim protection. Hardenstein's doing a great chance. Clyde doesn't like Tibbs. That's interesting.
I'm not a big fan of Tibbs either.
Yeah.
But it's just a revenge spot for him, so he does well here.
I don't think he's bad. I think he's like right below the elite tier.
I'd agree there.
Like he's like average or maybe above average. Who do you like better, Tibbs or my guy, Mike Brown?
Mike Brown.
Interesting, because until this run with the Kings, I think Tibbs would have been the easy answer. Tibbs has done it in multiple spots. This is Brown's first success. But anyways, let's move on. Tyler, everybody's going to love this spot here. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are one of the best teams against the spread in the NBA this season, coming off that huge statement win against the Boston Celtics. Now they travel to Atlanta to take on the Hawks. The total's 248. This one's tough, Tyler. You know, when I bet situations, I love Atlanta here. However, we have one of the best ATS teams versus one of the worst ATS teams. To me, you're going to hate this. I think it's Atlanta or pass. And I think I'm going to pass because I could easily see the Thunder winning this game. We talked about them yesterday, reasons we like them. The Thunder have something to prove. They're taking the regular season seriously, and they're a young team that's not going to be as susceptible to fatigue. At the same time, just capping the NBA for so long, this is where the regular season gets tricky because you get these situational spots where an inferior team can get the win because travel, letdown spot, all those things. So unless you absolutely love a side, I was fine staying away from it here. If you were forcing me to put a lean in, however, I guess I lean the Hawks, as ugly as that sounds.
I would agree with you, but I feel like everyone is kind of going that way today. Everything I've listened to today, everything I've seen on Twitter, everyone's kind of, I think it's going to end up being the smart / public side. Like everyone thinks they're just going to go, oh.
The public dog that has fleas.
Yep. Everyone's going to go, oh, everyone's going to run to OKC. And in the end, it ends up being Atlanta because everyone finds out about it. They think it's the spot. I think I'd take OKC. I think they are just out to prove something. You watched that game last night up until the last 5 minutes. It wasn't all that physical. Even in the last 5 minutes, it still wasn't all that physical. It's just the defense tightened up a little bit. So I don't think these guys are all that fatigued. The travel really doesn't bother me. I think I would take OKC in the spot. I think losing DeAndre Hunter is just such a big missing part. The depth on this OKC team too spread. Like if SGA does happen to fall off a little bit, Jalen Williams could step up. Isaiah Joe hits more threes. Cason Wallace comes off the bench. Giddey had a good game yesterday. Chet plays well. Like they have a bunch of guys. So I think in the end, I'd be on OKC.
All right. Yeah, we're opposite there. I don't think we're going to get to the window with the Thunder. But I'll go ahead and hear arguments. I mean, fading the Hawks has been a lot of fun so far this season. And
I wouldn't bet
really
OKC
don't like that
until right before tip off, though.
Pardon?
I wouldn't bet OKC until right before tip off, though. Make sure none of these guys are going to sit.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to punt it, but I think you got a good point there, especially a play that I don't really love. All right, I'm throwing these numbers in right now on the treasure map that you can find on fanspeak.com, and we are going to continue to break down this NBA card. Tyler, this line is moving the opposite way. Who's out? When the Houston Rockets are now laying 4.5 to Brooklyn. You messaged me last night and you wanted to bet Houston last night. We would have had it at -6.5 last night. Now it's -4.5. I'm going to throw these numbers in. Can you pull the injury report up and let me know why this line is moving?
Tari Eason got ruled out on top of Dylan Brooks. That was it. So that's why the line dropped to 2 points. I don't think that's a good move. I think it's a bad matchup for Brooklyn still. I think Houston's after the break, they're going to be able to prove something. They blew out Detroit in that first game. Excuse me. I think this is a perfect spot to back Houston. Brooklyn does not perform well in these non-conference matchups. They're 2-8. They lose these games by 10 points, and this line's improved for us. I think we have to take Houston here. What do you think?
Yeah. I liked it when you messaged me last night, and I'm just glad that we
the other thing that I think is a sort of an angle here. Remember they tried to hire Udoka as the Brooklyn Nets coach, and then they kind of just had to push him away, and he ended up in Houston.
Uh-huh.
Don't you think he wants to beat up on him a couple times for
that? Maybe, but I don't know. I don't think it matters that much. I mean, we have such an edge with the Rockets anyways.
Yeah, I think it's a spot.
I mean, it can only help. It can't hurt, right? But, I mean, I think we can give 15 other reasons that we like Houston
100%, but it's one of those other angles. I think you could see the coach just push the guys a little harder.
If I were to go into other reasons I like the Rockets, I believe that they're going to be able to score down low. We've talked about Houston's small ball centers, but they're not going to be able to take advantage of Sengun's weak defense, and then I think Sengun's going to put them on offensively. We talk about what the Nets like to do. They like to flood you with that good wing play and that good depth. Houston has gone from being one of the thinnest teams in the league to being one of the deepest teams in the league. And, of course, you mentioned Udoka, and that's just the constant coaching and the emphasis on the defense there. So, I won't list 11 or 12 reasons, but you can see all signs point to Houston. I'm throwing these projections in right now, Tyler. I have them winning by 8 points. This is my favorite play that we've talked about so far. Anything else on this game before we continue?
Nope, that's it for me on that one.
Yeah, I'll probably just bet this thing right now. I'm not even going to wait. I got a 4.5. I like that number. So we'll adjust it on the treasure map too, because people should be able to get that 4.5 right now. All right, I got to relog into Bookmaker, but before that, the New Orleans Pelicans are +6 in Minnesota. They're taking on the Timberwolves. The total is 222.5. Tyler, this is an interesting one, right? These are two teams that really they have the potential to win the West, but we have questions around both of them. New Orleans is 5-1 in their last 6 road games, so we can't count them out just for being on the road. They are 8-3 straight up in their last 11, but Minnesota's won their last 5 home games, and they're 4-1 straight up in their last 5 against New Orleans. However, we're not asking them to just win because the money line's -217. We're asking them to win by 6 against the Pelicans team that, Tyler, I'm going to rely on you here. I've had a lot of problems figuring this team out so far this season. What do you like?
I like the Timberwolves here. When they have a rest advantage, they're 7-3-1 ATS. They have the rest advantage. Pelicans are coming off that blowout win over the Nets. Now they have to travel to Minnesota. I think it's a bad spot for them. It's a bad matchup on top of it. Zion's not going to have those easy buckets inside with Cat and Gobert down there. Minnesota's also coming off a loss where they are undefeated this year. They're going to come up. They're going to look to pound this team. And in that 7-0 streak they have after a loss, they're winning those games by 14 points. I think we could see a blowout in this spot. I could see the Pelicans coming in flat. I think we take the Timberwolves.
Tyler, I think we might have a worst comment of the 2024 year. What do you think of this comment by Clyde? Basketball is not a physical sport?
I mean, it's not to a point, but like it's however you take that phrase. Like if you're gonna talk physical as like, oh, like they're beating each other up like football players. It's not as physical as football, but it's physical in other ways. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, those guys are down there.
I'm not having this debate. I'll tell you right, I'm not having this debate right now.
All right, Clyde, I just let you know okay, compared to football. Okay, what's a physical sport compared to football? Wrestling? All right, we got you there. But no, physicality matters, Clyde, and these guys do get physical. And that's why when Tyler and I are watching the games, we're talking about which games are they actually banging on each other, getting down low, where they're going to wake up with bruises, and which games are they just running up and down the court. Yeah, great. A perfect rotation.
Literally the perfect comment for that.
I'm not even high, but yeah, I'm not doing that. All right. Anyways, Clyde, we just wanted to make fun of you for throwing that one in there. Do we want to make the Timberwolves an official play, Tyler?
I think we should. I like them in this spot.
I have them by 9 in my projections.
I think they smash them.
All right. I got another favorite. This is going to work out well. The Toronto Raptors are +1 in Memphis, taking on the Grizzlies. The total is 228. Tyler, do we want to bet this game? I don't have a good feel for either of these teams. Like that was a big move that Toronto just made. So I don't feel like I can accurately project them. And I don't really know what to make of Memphis. I know that they're looking strong with John Morant back in the lineup. But I don't know. Is that a temporary little bump, or are they really that good? What do you think?
Yeah, this is a stay away spot for me. I mean, Memphis on a back-to-back. Ja looked like he got banged up last night. I know he finished the game, but still, after a night's rest, he might not play tonight. I know he's not on the injury report, but I think you could see him pop. I'm staying away from this game completely. I don't like it. I think there's way better spots. I don't even want to look at this game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, if you really want to play it, I have projected the Grizzlies to win by 2.5. It's a 1-point spread. I would take the Grizz. I have this game projected to go under. I have no feel for the totals at all now.
There's a couple more games in these.
There's one game that I can't wait to talk about with you, but we're going to go in order here. This game's interesting. The Portland Trailblazers are catching 12 against the Dallas Mavericks. Now, haven't the Blazers been covering lately?
They got a bunch of guys. Bunch of guys on the injury report. Simon's
Is that why it's 12? Because this line seems like it's too high.
Kamara's questionable. That's a great defender. They would lose. Like, yeah, I think that's why this line's so high. And also, the Mavs got all their guys back.
Isn't it crazy how these things turn? Remember when the Mavs were barely even fielding a team?
Yeah, now
about 2 weeks ago, and Portland was fully healthy, and now Portland's the one that's got everyone on the injured list.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Are we completely staying away from that game?
From this Portland-Dallas game, I think the only way I would play it is probably Dallas. Dallas at home. Yeah, I think they can smash the spot.
My numbers are going to tell you to take Portland and the over. The trends go to the over. The total's gone over in the last 5 times these teams have faced. If you want to get involved, that's my favorite look. My question is how much do I downgrade the Portland for the injuries? And that might push us out of that.
If all those guys miss, I think they're in a bad spot.
Yeah. All right. I'm fine staying away from that one.
I would rather stay away from it, but I would lean Dallas.
Really? That's fine. Okay. I'd lean Portland, but I think I like the over out of all the plays. The best there, but I'm worried that all those guys miss, and then Portland doesn't get there for me. Maybe a Dallas team total over, especially if you say that what's his name, Tumani Kamara.
Yeah, he's questionable right now.
Yeah, and you're right. He has been a key to this little winning streak because he's a nice, solid defender. Like he's like a Jared Vanderbilt light. Would you say that's a fair comparison there, Tyler?
Yeah, I'd say that's very fair.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to one more before the game I want to talk about. Detroit Pistons, right? They're coming off a win, right? Was their most recent game that win?
No, they lost the Houston game. They got blown out in Houston.
Oh, okay. So they're 1-1 in their last 2 games. They're facing Utah Jazz. Jazz are laying 9, man. My projections, of course, like the Jazz because Pistons have been historically bad. But at the same time, I don't think that Utah is the caliber of a team to lay 9 with. I also don't want to take Detroit on the road. Last year, remember when we were making money on Detroit, we only did it by betting them at home and betting against them on the road. If I had to bet this game, I would lay it with Utah. But like I said earlier, I don't think that the caliber of team to be laying 9 points here. What do you think, Tyler?
I think we should lay it. They had that press conference after the Miami game. Jordan Clarkson wasn't happy with how he closed the game. They got pulled, sat on the bench. Will Hardy told him to suck it up, play better, and you'll get to play the end of the game. Well, he triple-doubled that next game against Dallas, and they won that 127-90. You look at their recent games, they've won 5 out of their last 6, and they're winning them by a nice margin. They blew out Dallas. They beat Miami 117-109. They beat the Spurs 130-118, and they beat Toronto 126-119. The one loss came to the Pelicans. It's a bad matchup for this Jazz team. They have nobody on the injury report. Detroit also, against the Western Conference this year, they're 1-9 ATS. They're losing these games by 14 points. Jazz, when these Eastern Conference teams come there, and also as home faves, they are 3-0 ATS, and they're winning the games by an average of 15 points.
They're doing the same against the Western Conference teams. Now, of course, against the West, they're catching points a lot, but they're 10-1 against the spread in their last 11 games at home. Are we adding it?
I think we take the Jazz here. Yeah. I think they woke something up.
Okay, but let's phrase this so it's easier on my heart, okay? Let's just not mention who we're taking. Let's just say we're fading the Pistons.
That's fine.
Because doesn't it feel rough to say I'm taking the Jazz?
It does, but after seeing like how the coach called out some of the players for how they were playing and they've rallied together, they were already winning games. Now they get a good matchup like this. I think they pound this team.
All right,
I can see them going on a nice little. I can see them going on a nice little streak and climbing into a play-in spot, and like come down the stretch of the season. We're like, oh, is Utah going to grab a 9 or a 10 seed, and then they fall out in the end?
Fair enough. I don't even think they'll do that good. I just think the Pistons are that bad, and it's too bad because I was wrong about this team. But it's what we do here, Tyler. Right? We're not married to our preseason previews.
Yeah.
Detroit has failed to meet expectations, so now we pivot.
And this coach for Utah, I mean, he seems really good.
Will Hardy?
Will Hardy.
All right.
He seems like a legit coach.
Yeah.
Say he's better than Monty right now.
I'm so disappointed in Monty. All right. This is the game that I wanted to talk to you about, Tyler. The Los Angeles Clippers are -4 against the Phoenix Suns. These are two teams that I have the buy signal on, right? Phoenix has won 4 games in a row, and we talked about now that the Clippers have implemented Harden, they're a legitimate championship contender and specifically one of the best teams in the West. I need to pull up this injury report because I can't figure out, though, still how
Durant's out.
Phoenix is catching so many points. Wait, what?
Durant ain't playing. Durant is out with a hamstring injury. That is why they are 4-point dogs. And that is why we'll be betting the Clippers because the Suns.
How many points do you think he's worth?
A lot more than 4.
Okay.
Look at the guys.
I got to adjust my projections in. I had this as a 2 points.
Are we scared of Bradley Beal? I'm not. If he beats me, he beats me here.
Okay, here's the deal. Just because I don't want to slander Beal too much.
Where does my question is? Where does Phoenix have?
I'm not afraid of him in this matchup. All right, Tyler. But as a Kings fan, if it was Kings versus Suns, yes, I'm scared of Bradley Beal. Do you see my point?
Yeah.
I just think with Man, Kawhi, PG, they're going to be fine against him. But there's a lot of teams he's going to torch.
Go look at the Clippers injury reports, Brad. Tell me last time you seen
clean.
that.
It's clean.
Frame that and put it on the wall. You ain't never going to see that again.
Maybe not.
I think
according to that ticket we got last week, I'm hoping to see it for the rest of the season, Tyler.
I think it's Clippers smash right here. They kind of just box in one Booker, force everyone else to beat them. I don't think those guys beat them in the end. And the Clippers have so many guys that they could just ensemble. Where does Phoenix have the advantage here tonight, Spread? Starting lineup, checkmark Clippers. Coaching, checkmark Clippers. Depth, checkmark Clippers.
They have home court.
Oh, that's about it.
All right. Is this a rivalry game? Were these guys talking smack? Did PG and Devin Booker hate each other?
I'm pretty sure.
Am I remembering that right?
But doesn't Devin Booker also hate Luka? And he was trying to be nice to him on the floor recently.
Yeah, I thought like they dated the same woman or something. All right,
they probably did.
I don't know if I want to bet this Clippers game though. I had this circle the Suns. What's up?
I want the Clippers.
4 favorites. What a fucking terrible day.
Look at who they beat. They beat Houston. They beat Houston after they lost 5. They lost 5 of their last 6. It was like, okay, they sent Durant and Booker in. They overloaded that team. They beat them with pure talent. They beat Charlotte 133-119. They beat Orlando 112-107, and they beat Portland 109-88. I think the Clippers beat the hell out of all 4 of those teams, and we're getting a -4 on the Clippers here, who are also 6-2 straight up in their last 8 on the road. I want the Clippers.
All right, you're making a compelling case here, guys. The channel's nuked the house. Give us that thumbs up. This is the NBA rundown. The Miami Heat are +5.5. They're in Los Angeles taking on the Lakers. Tyler, if you take out the in-season tournament, this Lakers team has been pretty bad. I feel that in-season tournament's kind of pacified or satiated, I don't know the right word, a lot of their fan base because they've shown, hey, we can turn it on when it matters. But this team is still bumbling and stumbling through the regular season, and questions about their depth have continued to emerge. I know they're going to be popular around trade time, and it's going to be so much fun for me, and I'm being sarcastic, to watch Lakers fans completely overvalue D'Angelo Russell and then not be able to understand why they can't get Zach LaVine or Donovan Mitchell for D'Angelo Russell. But to this game tonight, this is interesting, right? These 2 teams played in the finals. They have a little bit of a history. Pat Riley, total's gone under in 4 of Miami's last 5 games, but the total's gone over in 6 of the Lakers' last 7 games. They played once already this season, right, Tyler? And I believe that Miami got the win. That game was in Miami. Now they face off in Los Angeles. We've taken a lot of favorites. Here's a dog that I'm interested, but am I letting my Lakers hate blind me to an easy spot here for Los Angeles?
I wouldn't call it an easy spot. I'd probably end up staying away from this game. I mean, Jimmy's already out for Miami. That worries me. I know they've played well without him. Still, it's a spot that worries me. LeBron's got a Q tag, so I don't want to bet the Lakers, and he sits.
Yeah.
I think there's a better dog left on the board that I would rather bet in the last game.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So we'll get to that.
That dog must be, there's only one game left, so it must be the Orlando Magic, who are in Sacramento taking on my Kings. I don't like this, Tyler. Isn't this a great bounce back spot for Sacramento?
Your Kings are terrible in back-to-back.
I don't want to bet Sacramento. I just don't know if I want to bet Orlando.
They're terrible in back-to-backs here. We'll check them after a loss. We'll see. Give me 1 second. After a loss this year, they are 7-5 ATS. The margin of victory is negative 0.3 points, so they're losing those games. I like Orlando.
So you're basically saying this team doesn't bounce back, and I shouldn't be worried.
Orlando's 7-3 versus the Western Conference too, and Steph had to go nuclear to beat them last night. I don't like Orlando here.
I just worry that Fox will go nuclear tonight, coming off that loss. I would love to play so much more if we would have just won against Charlotte.
I think you said your team was going to go through growing pains. Here's the growing pains. They're losing another game.
All right. Let me see what else do we got for this one. The total's gone over the last 5 times these teams have played off, but Sacramento's gone under in 5 of their last 6 games. So opposite trends there on my projections. Where did I have this one? I bet you I'm going to like the Kings. Yeah, I got the Kings by 5. So pretty close to that number there. I mean, if you love Orlando, I'd say the Kings and the Lakers are the 2 teams that I have the worst feel for. I'd say the Lakers by far the worst.
Of the games we talked about, this is probably the order I'd bet them in.
Okay.
The Rockets, the Timberwolves, the Bucks, the Clippers. Actually, flip the Clippers and the Bucks. The Clippers would be before the Bucks. The Jazz, the Magic, the Thunder, and that's probably it.
Okay. So far, while we're talking through these games, I've got there on 3 of these games, Tyler. I've got there on the Rockets 4.5, Minnesota Timberwolves at 6, and the Jazz at -9. Now, we know if we take all these favorites, we're not going to sweep the board. That never happens. I wouldn't be surprised if we went 3-2 or 4-1, though, with the 5 favorites that we mentioned. And then the final question is, do we want to sprinkle in the Orlando Magic? What does the chat think here? Is the Magic worth a look? Tyler, summarize this card. If we get some cogent comments, I'll throw those on the screen.
What were the 4 we got here on? Because I'm just punching them in on the treasure map right now.
I've got 3 so far. I've done Houston, Minnesota, and Utah.
Okay. What was your question after that? I'm sorry. You wanted me to sum up the
just
slate?
saying sum it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good slate. I think there's a bunch of spots. I think there's a couple more games we should pull the trigger on. Like I'll try and get you there on the Bucks. I may try and I
like the Bucks a lot. I'll add that one right now.
Yeah.
And here's why. That's the strength of that zigzag is just too much.
All right. And there might be a quote unquote deal with it play from me spread if I can't get you to get there on the Clippers.
What is it?
The Clippers.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I don't hate it. I didn't think Durant was out. When I ran my numbers with Durant in there, first of all, I'm not sure if I'm putting Beal in correctly. So maybe it would have been even higher for Phoenix. But I ran it with Durant in, and I had it as a 2-point Phoenix loss. You told me he's worth more than 4 points.
I think he's worth a lot more, judging by their roster.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? And I'm not going to make that same Joe Montana, Steve Young joke. But the fact that they have no one to come in behind him makes them so much more valuable.
I think we're sweeping the board tonight.
I don't think that many favorites.
You took the angle of, well, we might only lose one. We're not losing one.
You think that many favorites cover? There's no upsets tonight, or there's just upsets in the game.
But I don't think they're the ones we pick.
What's up?
I think there's upsets, but I don't think they're the ones we
Who's
pick.
the most likely dog to cover tonight?
Portland.
I'm going to rank my dogs. Portland number 1. Washington. I'm going in the order of the most points. Washington number 2. I guess I'll take the Bulls and the Knicks off. I'll take the Heat number 3. Boy, you made a good point about the Magic, though. I'd say the Heat or the Magic number 3. Tyler, what's your best bet for the day?
Best bet? Give me the Clippers -4.
All right. Well, I guess I have to bet it right now.
And parlaying all their against the spread numbers gives me a 24-1 ticket. I'm putting that in because it's going to be a nice little 5-legger that hits.
All right. So what's the parlay?
Clyde said ranking my dogs number 1. Clyde.
Bro, Houston's down to 4.
I don't get it.
All right. My play of the day is going to be the Timberwolves. I like the Minnesota Timberwolves. We talked about the Pelicans being in a tough spot, coming off a win, not to mention the matchup. The size that the Timberwolves have, it's not going to be like when the Pelicans destroyed the Kings and the Kings had no one down low to face them. They can throw multiple different looks at Zion. And I do believe that at home, this Minnesota team is just an absolute juggernaut. So go ahead and give me the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tyler, anything else for the people before we log off?
I think that's it. They got a nice little long shot parlay. They got all the plays, and we're going to sweep the board.
Yeah, I parlayed. These are all by the spread. Minnesota, Houston, Milwaukee.
And I really hope everyone bet that Will Anderson Defensive Rookie of the Year bet, because whoever was asleep at the wheel making the odds on that finally woke up and wiped the sleep out of their eyes and realized that Jalen Carter's not doing much anything. Let me pull up the exact numbers on FanDuel right now, because those odds have really flipped since I tagged you in a tweet on Twitter spread. Or X, whatever we want to call it nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, as of right now, Will Anderson plus 200 with Jalen Carter minus 150. Really hope everyone got those bets in.
So this is such a square day.
We'll be fine.
It's a square sport. All right, there you have it, Tyler. Anything else? Oh, we already just asked you that. That's it for us, guys. Give us a thumbs up. We appreciate everyone watching and hanging out with us. Tyler, we had more viewers today. Maybe this is a better time. We'll look into that going forward, as I'm going to have some more time in the afternoons that I did during December. Maybe we switch the time. The 5-leg parlay, I did Minnesota, Houston, Milwaukee, LA, and Utah.
All spread.
What's up?
All spread bets, not money line.
Yeah, all spread. So there you have it for us. We will be back tomorrow. We're going to do a NFL show with Meg on Fanspeak at 3 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be here at 4:30 tomorrow. Does that sound about right, Tyler?
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, especially you, Clyde. Nuke the house.